welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're either catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44, or my Facebook page, True Divine 44. Likes, shares, subscribes, comments on either of those is greatly appreciated. Helps grow what I'm trying to do here. I'm putting out free content all the time, mainly via tarot, to help support, guide and inspire people. So I'm getting through all of the signs. It's a little bit later than I would like it to be, but better late than never. I'm getting into a routine more and more as we speak, between paid work and putting out the free content. So if they resonate with you, take it, run with it. If they don't resonate with you, that's fine. It's because they're general readings and they're not specific to you. They're not specific to any one person. It's picking up like a collective of the energies for each sign. So for today, it's Aquarius, and it's for February 2020. In Aquarius, you're having a pretty major month if this resonates with you. We've got the first card being Judgment. So in the past, very recent past, there's been, this time of review. It's the time Judgment calls for the review of your life, of the soul's journey thus far. Relationships, things that have worked, things that haven't worked. It's the question of, what do you take forward? What do you leave behind? What do you forgive? What do you seek a higher consciousness about? Or what have you already gained this higher consciousness about? It's a real leveling up. It's a real taking note of what's gone on thus far, and taking forward what is good for you and leaving the rest behind. A very deep and meaningful card. When this card comes up, things, projects, relationships either might be coming to an end, where that cycle needs to end, it needs to stop, or the vice versa. It could be that in this review period time that you actually take a project or relationship further, but you do it with more knowing, more intent. So either way, there's a lot of intent here, whether it's to end things that have been going on, the cycle that's been going on, to end that, a relationship, a project, or maybe to take it further, but take it in a different direction with real intent, because of the lessons learned, because of the things that you've looked back on in the review of this card and figured out what worked, what didn't. Because the second card in the present moment is Justice, there's a feeling here that many of you might have gone through court cases, or court cases are still ongoing, and so there's it's coming to a close now. Because of all of the cards that you've got, it looks like it will be in your favor, or ultimately for your greater good. But with the Justice card being in the present, we have this need for balance, this need for maybe to forgive, so that we can move on, with a clear mind, with a clear heart, maybe to liberate yourself from something that has been an injustice, but other people aren't going to liberate you. So you liberate yourself from that label, from that time in your life. There's also a call for the fact that this is karmic, very karmic, with this card coming first and this card coming second. There's real karma here. So what have you done in your past? What have you been doing with your time? What have you been giving? What have you been receiving? There's a time for the karmic payouts to come. So if you've been giving out the good vibes, if you've been doing things that are for the greater good, or from a good place in your heart, you can fully expect things to start settling in your favor, things to start coming back to you. It's the karma that you've built up, the karma and the dharma, you've built that up, you've created it, and it's coming back to you. Third card being in the future, lots of messages, lots of maybe letters, even if this is to do with a court case, giving you the conclusion of said court case. Or maybe if it's to do with a relationship, there might be a lot of messages going back and forward. Again, remember balance. This card here, Justice, also talks about how we choose to react to something. We can choose to be triggered to something, or we can choose and be extreme in our response, or we can choose to be balanced, like the scales that are being held here, and have a balanced response, and even be have enough wisdom to know that if there's too many messages going back and forth and they're not really saying much other than, you know, insults, or if somebody doesn't want to end something and you do, there's a time for that wisdom to step in and just say, I don't need to prove a point here, I don't need to win here, you know, I'm just going to not respond any further. And sometimes that might be the case for you if this resonates with you and it's regarding a relationship, the end of a relationship. So it could be a bit of a tough time because of how other people choose to respond to you. Now, in this card, in the Justice card also, it speaks of that we can only control how we respond. We can only control how we act, and the things that we put out there. We can't actually control others. We can't control how they react. We can't control whether they get triggered or not. If they do get triggered, it's not your fault, that's their choice. And there's real wisdom in knowing that. So, you know, you need to know that, what was I going to say there, because it's a bit difficult, in that some of this teaching might be, and some of this review in the Judgment card might be that, you know, Aquarius, you've maybe chosen to be around the wrong groups of people or the wrong type of person, and that you need to choose to move on from that and be more, have a higher knowing of and a higher choice of what kind of people you relate to in the future, what kind of people you want to attract in the future. How do you want to be seen? Because often it's the type of people, the company we keep, is how other people see us also. So, you know, there's that message there as well. Because these cards are such strong major arcana cards, when they're put together, it's a very strong message. I wouldn't be surprised if you're having dreams, or even if you hear or feel ancestral messages, you know, from the other worlds. These cards both bridge the other worlds. The Judgment card being ruled by Pluto, the underworld. Justice card being Libra, you know, the balance, the scales, the balance of the universe. So, you know, there may be some messages, ancestral messages, that you're getting connected to, and that you maybe need to listen to. I would suggest that you listen to ancestors that have been through this cycle before. They've done it all before. They've seen the results of the various actions we choose to take in this Justice card. So, you know, this card speaks of consequences also, that, you know, there's consequences to how we act. There's consequences to the things that we've done here in Judgment in the past. So, you know, this might be a real learning curve for you, Aquarius, to remember the things that you've done and remember the cause and effect that came after that cause. You know, so maybe some time where you need to not just review others and the people you choose to be around and be in relationship with, but also be brave enough and be strong enough and discerning enough to review self, and see why we made certain decisions, why we did certain acts, why we chose to be around this type of person or this type of person. What were we seeking from that? You know, there's very deep questions that come up from these cards. And ultimately it's a growth period for you, Aquarius. This is a real growth period, you know, growing pains almost a little bit, that leading up to this card might have been a bit tricky, might have been a bit, have a little bit of hardship in relationships in particular. So there's real deep questions to be asked of self here. On the bottom of the deck we have the Chariot card. So again, this moving away, this cycle ending. But it's not just ending without review. It's not ending without thought. It's ending. It's like if you were at school, if you were at university, you'd be taking the biggest exams right now. You've done your revision in the Judgment card. You're taking your exams, and you'll get the result of those exams when your marks are put in, and then you'll get the message through when you get your pass or fail, if you like, or, you know, A star or D, depending on where you are in the world and how you grade school and university papers. So it's like that, you know, they're going through an exam period right now. And the revision that you've done leading up to this exam will count. It will be counted, it will be balanced out, and it'll be sent back out to you. And there's a feeling here that, you know, the results of this exam period in your life will make you move on. And again, this card again being a lot about balance of the yin and the yang, the divine feminine and divine masculine, and having the wisdom to move forward, and move forward in what direction, move forward with intent, and move forward in the right direction with the right people, or with yourself in balance. So it's a big reading, it's a big month. And you've known this, you've known that you've been leading up to something big, you've been leading up to a big cycle ending and new beginnings. So it's a very intense month for you, Aquarius. So let's just clarify a few, because I didn't clarify first, because it seemed like such a clear message. So I'm just going to clarify, I might clarify all of them, but I'll see what happens. I'm going to clarify the Eight of Wands first. So you get the Two of Wands, you know, so the action being taken, but again, it's the two, it's about balance. But, you know, definite action coming, courage and vision to go forward and set new goals, and take the action towards those goals. You know, there's a feeling here that you need to be quite pragmatic as well, and not let emotions get involved too much in this review period and this decision making and the balance that's coming through. And definitely to get rid of any triggers during that review period. You know, triggers aren't good. It's they're manufactured, and, you know, advertising corporations picked up on that very quickly, that if they can put triggers into our consciousness, they can trigger us into anything. We can be fooled into buying anything. We can be fooled into any medication, you know, if they've put the right triggers in place first. You know, fear of death from the certain plague, or, you know, things like that. So, you know, triggers just aren't good in general. And this reading really speaks of, you know, getting rid of triggers. You're higher than that. This is a higher consciousness. This is a higher knowing. You know, the triggers are way down here, and this higher consciousness is way up here, and never the two shall meet. So that's a huge expansion and a huge growth period for you, and a huge exam. It's difficult to get rid of triggers that we've gotten used to having. So let's just clarify. I think the Judgment card is very clear. Let's just clarify this Chariot card. How are we moving forward? How is Aquarius moving forward? Clarify the Chariot card for Aquarius. How is Aquarius moving forward? Seven of Water. You know, you're moving forward to a different project, to a different cycle. Underneath that is the Earth Prince, projects, things that you love doing. Again, messages coming through, but, you know, there's going to be hard work ahead, but there's real accomplishment here. You feel accomplished for the moving on that you've done, and I think a lot of the hard work has already been done leading up to this Judgment card. So Aquarius, that's your reading for February. A big month for you. Obviously it'll probably continue past February, in that, you know, this is a huge expansion period, and you're moving forward with projects, relationships, however this resonates with you, and you've grown exponentially this month and in the months leading up to this. And, you know, it makes you look back and sometimes think even the hardest times actually are our biggest blessings. They're our biggest expansion periods. They're our biggest growth periods. We learn the biggest lessons from the huge hardships that we can go through sometimes. So nothing's wasted. Everything's gained. Nothing's wasted. You have choice here of how to react here, Aquarius. And it looks like you're going to react and choose to react and go forward in a perfect way for you. So much love. Be balanced and be whole always. If you would like a private reading, get in touch with me with any of the contact details either above or below, depending on where you're viewing this video. Any energy work you would like to get done, where I help you connect with the energy source that you have within you all of the time, get used to using it, facilitate the use of it, how to direct it around the body, and also how to really draw in that prana, that energy that is around us all of the time and is a gift from the Great Mother, you know, that we can be using to energize us, to keep us feeling more revitalized, you know, just helping us make better decisions also, because we learn how to clear that energy. We learn how to release energy that's not ours, that we may be just picking up from others. So if you're interested in any of that, we can do that remotely via Skype or whatever modem you use. I can try and accommodate you. So please get in touch, like, share, comment, subscribe. Much love. Mwah. See you soon.